Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Holy frickin' moly, Candace Owens strikes again. And of course, when that happens, if I start my video by saying that, it's probably something good. And honestly, that might be an understatement. This is a bombshell, or at least a potential bombshell. I have to preface the video by saying that a lot of this stuff so far is unconfirmed, but if what Candace Owens is suggesting here is true, if this story in fact ends up being corroborated, well, it's once again disqualifying stuff. Or at least it would be if the mainstream media did its frickin' job. I mean, for Pete's sakes, her husband just got exposed as a abuser. He's an adulterer and an abuser. Yet he's going around lecturing us about toxic masculinity, and the mainstream media's got their blinders on. They're pretending it doesn't exist. So it's probably not going to be actually disqualifying, considering it probably won't even reach most people's radar. But anyways, it's another day in the 2024 election cycle, another Kamala scandal, each one greater than the last. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so we're obviously piggybacking off of all the hard work that Candace Owens has done here, so I should start the video off by saying you should go to her channel and watch the video I Spoke with Kamala's Uncle, Candace Owens episode 78. You should watch it in its entirety. As I'm recording this video, Candace Owens' piece has been online for less than 24 hours, and it's already amassed nearly 2 million views, so that pretty much tells you all that you need to know. But anyways, essentially here's the TLDR. Candace Owens stumbled on this photo right over here from Kamala Harris's book. As you see, it's Kamala Harris with an older black woman, and the caption states that this woman is apparently Kamala Harris's biological great-grandmother. And now, of course, this is being presented in the realm of politics as, let's call it, racial cred. There's been questions about Kamala Harris's racial presentation and the authenticity behind it, and so, of course, this photo is being used to solidify her connection to the black community. But for some reason, this photo started setting off red flags. Then Candace Owens decided to investigate a little bit, and she got in contact with Kamala Harris's own uncle. And now we'll just play the clip from Candace Owens' segment.
About your brother, Donald Harris. I just am not understanding anything in this paper. And I went through the holes in it. I went through the fact that, he mentions this person growing up, like they all kind of grew up on a farm together, but you're asking the question, like, Beryl married this person. Why is he trying to make it seem like everyone grew up as one happy family? Why didn't he even mention Vioris at all, which is kind of the dog that didn't bark? And I asked him directly if he knew the Miss Iris that he is referring to in this book, in the Miss Iris that Donald J. Harris is referring to in his piece, rather, who he says is Iris Nay Finnegan. Again, very strange, because Iris should have never been Nay Finnegan. Finnegan was her married name. And he said, I can't answer that. I don't know that name. I want to be very clear. He has a relationship with Donald. He is close with Donald. They grew up together. He considers Donald his full brother. He has no idea who Miss Iris Finnegan is. This is Donald's brother that we're talking about. So I said, okay, that's, of course, of some interest to me. I asked him why it is that he's even then mentioning this Miss Iris. And he told me that he wanted to clarify something which was of most importance to me. He wanted me to know that before Vioris and Oscar Harris got married, Oscar Harris already had 3 children, okay? One of them being Donald. Now, to be clear, he is younger than Donald, a lot younger than Donald, so he wouldn't know much about if there was some family secret. He would not be aware of it, but to the best of his knowledge, like, this is what he was told, that they had 3 children before Vioris and Oscar got married. And I asked him, quite frankly, if he knew or heard of Beryl. He told me he does not know Beryl. Instant red flag to me. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how do you not know? If you have a half sibling that you are close to and have been close to your whole life, how do you not know who their mom is? He said, I don't know who his mother is. You don't know who Donald Harris's mom is.
Apparently, allegedly, the woman photographed with Kamala Harris in that picture might not even be her actual great-grandmother. It might just be a random lady, or possibly, some people are suggesting it might be one of her servers or house servers from her family's estate in Jamaica. And just like that, Kamala Harris is back in some scandal. The accusation is that she's potentially fabricated elements of her background to sway voters of color into blindly supporting her. And that right there might be an all-time low. According to this report, Kamala Kamala Harris's own uncle is essentially denying any knowledge of the woman depicted in Kamala's book. And now that raises some serious concerns, some serious questions about Kamala Harris's integrity and honesty with the American people. In other words, the lies continue to mount. How could it possibly make sense that Kamala Harris's own uncle, who's close with her father, wouldn't know the woman pictured in her book? It simply doesn't make sense. And it builds on this notion that Kamala Harris uses her, let's call it racial ambiguity, in a way to dishonestly pander to certain voter groups. And now, of course, the left is instantly dismissing all of these theories as wacky conspiracy theories. Candace Owens has lost the plot, therefore you should disregard everything that she said. And of course, there's accusations of racism, which of course makes no sense considering this report is coming from Candace Owens, a black woman. Some might say an actual black woman, an actual black American woman, but of course this has nothing to do with race. The left, of course, just desperately wants to dismiss what's being exposed with this investigative journalism. They're trying to use racism to shut down the conversation. But in my view, voters have every right to be suspicious of somebody who might be willing to manipulate their identity for political gain. It's not about race. It's about honesty, transparency, and whether or not you could actually trust somebody who constantly seems to be dancing on the line of deception. I mean, let's be real here. Kamala Harris has a long history of dodging the truth. Whether it's her shifting political positions, her record as a prosecutor, or now this, it's obvious that there's a common denominator here. There's one common factor with almost everything that Kamala Harris does within the political arena: dishonesty, deception. At this point, her career is dotted with these kinds of moments, where honesty takes a back seat to her political ambitions. I mean, let's just look at the Brett Kavanaugh situation, for instance. She went after Brett Kavanaugh fiercely during those bogus hearings. Kamala Harris was trying to paint herself as a champion for victims of abuse. Yet now, what are we learning? We've seen allegations surface that Kamala Harris's own husband has been involved in abusive behavior towards his ex-girlfriend, not to mention his history with the old nanny. It's very easy for Kamala Harris to grandstand on the national stage when it suits her, when it shoots up her political stock, but what about when the accusations hit close to home? Yeah, total Kamala campaign blackout, and of course, to her benefit, like I mentioned in the intro, total media blackout, which even left-wingers like Stephen A. Smith are expressing outrage over.
I don't blame you for bringing up the story because, in fairness to Donald Trump, which is not something you hear me or most people say all the time, it is absolutely true. If this were him, it would be all over the place. It would be printed, it would be publicized everywhere. We also have to take into account 2018, when then Senator Kamala Harris, obviously when the whole Brett Kavanaugh situation, not as far back as 2018, but when Brett Kavanaugh was obviously running for the Supreme Court, I think it was around that time actually, and I remember her wearing all black and saying she was wearing all black, and I wore black today in support of all survivors of sexual assault or abuse. And it was a hashtag, believe survivors, et cetera, et cetera. And so when you do something like that, it's going to be politicized. And if people believe you've politicized it, the second they get an opportunity to politicize something against you or unfavorable to you, they are going to pounce on that.
I don't know what to believe now. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's not true. It could be that that's actually her grandmother or great-grandmother, and her uncle just simply doesn't know. It could even be that Candace Owens is lying, which I really wouldn't suspect. Or it could be a continuation of the trend. And that trend, of course, is described again in one word: deception. This entire campaign has been nothing short of fraudulent. And really, it hasn't just been Kamala Harris. It's Joe Biden, it's Kamala Harris, it's Karine Jean-Pierre, and even her running mate, Tim Walz. Let's not forget about little Timmy Walz here, who similarly has been caught in all kinds of lies, or bending the truth to fit political narratives. He lied about using IVF, then doubled down during the debate and said it again. He lied about being in China during the events of Tiananmen Square.
Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. But Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect, and I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that.
But just chalked it up to being a knucklehead. Oh, I'm a knucklehead. What can I say? Sometimes I get carried away. No, buddy, you're a freaking liar, just like your boss. Actually, Scott Jennings on CNN hit him real good on one of his excuses for one of his various lies.
We have an old president in office.
Okay, so everybody seems to be worried about J.D. Vance and dishonesty, or Donald Trump and dishonesty. I never hear the same concern about Harris and the lies that she tells about Trump, or in Walz himself, who gave the most disastrous response to a question about his own dishonesty about being in Tiananmen Square that I've ever heard in a debate. He also did the same thing with Dana Bash when questioned about dishonesty a couple of months ago. And effectively what he has said is, sorry, guys, I'm too dumb to tell the truth. I mean, he called himself a knucklehead. I have bad grammar. This is a guy who holds himself up to be a school teacher and a coach. Is that the life lesson he's giving the kids that are under his care? Hey, you can lie, and then you can just kind of slough it off as being, too dumb to tell the truth. I think we spend 99% of our time going down rabbit holes about Vance and Trump and honesty in campaigns, and we spend no time at all holding Walz and Harris to the same standard, and I don't understand it.
He hit the nail on the head. The Kamala Walz ticket is probably the most dishonest ticket in all of American history. Not just modern American history like I usually say, no, probably all of it. So anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. I guess we'll probably have some updates on this story as it develops, or maybe not. You can choose to believe what you want to believe. You could do your own research. Well, maybe you could do your own research if Brian Stelter gives you permission to do so. Ooh, little Brian Stelter. I actually miss the guy in a weird way. Come on, little Brian, come back. We need you. CNN's been boring since Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. But anyways, I'm going on a ridiculous tangent. That's pretty much it. That's the video. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you got some sort of value out of it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.